uh, I'm incredibly time sensitive today, which, as you know, is not always my forte. So I wanted to just give you guys a few really snippets of the tremendous effort that you brought forward last year. Ontario in the past, in 2019, we'd had an incredible year of raising over 14 million for the province, which was the second highest we'd ever raised for Terry Fox. And it was just so beautiful. We had so many incredible plans for the 40th. You guys were ready to go, fired up, and COVID took us in a different direction. But we did not fail this beautiful man behind me, Terry Fox. We still, despite what was happening in the world around us, Ontario raised $8.5 million. Extraordinary, considering we really were just even hoping to raise 5 million. That is absolutely incredibly inspirational and humbling, frankly. And it's the work that was done at the desks and houses and emails and hearts of everyone on this call. So I can't thank you enough for that. We're looking forward to continuing to see those numbers go up. A couple of the amazing stats, just to let you guys know the work that you do. And I'm not sure, because everybody works so in a little bit in a silo at Terry Fox, because we're also separated by geography largely. We had 25% of our participants last year, who were all online, of course, were actually new to the Terry Fox Run. Now, in a pandemic year, I'm not sure anybody would have assumed that new people would have been joining the Terry Fox Foundation. And I believe so strongly that that's because of ambassadors like you guys. So that is incredible. You heard the great news about the Adidas collection last year. That raised $1.6 million. We were also had Penguin Random House release 2 books. There were just incredible highs of last year, and despite the lows of losses that we suffered and pain that we saw people go through on so many different levels, Terry Fox was a real bright light thanks to you guys. So this is the day that we would have hugged you even tighter, especially since I am hugging the same people who no longer want hugs from me, and I would love to hug someone who actually would like to be hugged by me. Thank you. Oh, hearts, thank you guys. We're just gonna wait 365 more days, you guys. We're gonna be back together. It's going to be better than ever. We'll make sure that Mr. Sharp donates 2 trips to one of his hotels, not just 1, 2. So I didn't want to start the day without congratulating you and really telling you that as the face of the foundation, we could not do it without you. There's the motley crew on this call that you know from our workshops, the amazing staff at the Ontario office, who I miss dreadfully. Kimber is, in the office every day, the trooper that she is, doing multitasking. And she normally puts, months of work into this. And she was determined this year that even though we had some wonderful calls last year with all of our colleagues across the country, she really wanted to be back with her tribe, as she calls it. And that's why this morning has been so wonderful for us to come back together with you guys. As usual, there's all the usual things I would do. Today doesn't really apply. We don't have a lot of prizes. I don't have to read them off. There's no kit for you guys. Happily, I will also tell you there is no questionnaire for you nitwits to fill out so that you can criticize me and telling me that my mother is better than me, or that I talk too long, or that, as my new executive director might be worried about, I will go too long and talk too much. So none of that feedback, although if you'd like to email Kim, she will not forward it to me. But thank you very much for that. It just makes me so happy. I can't tell you, my heart is filled with such joy looking at you guys today. So thank you. We're going to get going with our agenda. It's a really, sadly, like, I've never had such a short agenda ever in my life. It was kind of hard to make it because we only have 90 minutes, and now we're even tougher. I'm going to actually ask Michael, our wonderful new ED, if it's okay if I can actually bypass him at the moment, just so that we can get Dr. Bell, who's our researcher today, to come up. I know Dr. Bell had some time restraints, so I'd love him to go first if that's okay. I can no longer see Michael, so I'm assuming he is nodding. Michael, you're good with that? Okay, thank you, Michael. Our first speaker then, we are going to welcome the amazing, wonderful Dr. John Bell. Gabe, I'm hoping you can find Dr. Bell on the speaker list. We have had the privilege of hearing Dr. Bell a few years ago at the Terry Fox workshop in Toronto. He is a remarkable man and researcher. I think we all agree we're a group that appreciates science and appreciates research. And in a year like we've had, it's even more meaningful. We really wanted to invite Dr. Bell because his history with Terry Fox is extraordinary and his work is groundbreaking. So I'm really honored today to introduce Dr. John Bell from Ottawa to spend some time. He's not doing a presentation. I said, do you mind just chatting with us? And I thought it's really important we just have that overview of where we are and where we're going to be going now for cancer research in the next little while. So Dr. Bell, it's a pleasure to welcome you today.
Thanks very much, Martha. Can you hear me okay?
We can, absolutely.
Perfect, perfect, great. So yeah, it's great to be here with all of you. I wish we could be in person and have some of that delicious hotel coffee, which I'm sure would be amazing, but you know, that aside, I love the Terry Fox Foundation, as you all know. It's been my favorite charity, mostly because of the spirit and camaraderie, but also because of the mission. So I'm speaking today on behalf of one of the program project grants that you guys support. It's called COVCO, which is the Canadian Oncolytic Virus Consortium. So it's just a bit of a play on CODCO, which we always love to watch the Canadian comedy show. So we named it COVCO. But it basically is a group of scientists from across the country, all supported by Terry Fox. From British Columbia, we have people in Alberta, we have people in Hamilton, Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal, and we all work together. We have a common theme that we think it's possible to use both virus-based therapeutics and our immune system to create new ways to treat cancer. And so this has been, I think, a really successful program project grant. We've actually generated a number of products that have gone into the clinic, into clinical studies, including this last year when things were so tough, we managed to get a new virus out that's now being tested in clinical studies in cancer patients in the United States and Canada. So it's been a really productive group, and I'm really excited to be part of it. And one of the things that we discovered many years ago is that we were able to use viruses to specifically identify and target and kill cancer cells. And when we did this, we also, by sort of a bit of luck, realized that we were also stimulating the patient's immune system to recognize that cancer as a foreign entity. And this turns out it's because, as you all know, we have normal cells in our body. And unfortunately, sometimes we get mutations in the DNA of certain cells in your body that lead to the formation of a cancer. And so then that cancer, because it's had mutations in its genetic information, it's genetically different than all the normal cells around it. And so it's possible then to use viruses to distinguish between those two kinds of cells and use them and educate them. Use these viruses and engineer them to attack and destroy the cancer cells. And as I said, at the same time, stimulate the cancer patient's immune system to recognize that cancer is foreign. So we sort of get a double whammy. We have the virus go in first, attack the cancer, but then we educate the patient's immune system to continue on and attack that cancer for quite a bit longer. So this one of the viruses that we just recently put into the clinic, even in early stage patients, we found that at very low doses even, that we're generating immune responses against the patient's cancer. And so we're hoping that this will lead to long-term good outcomes and keep you basically immunized against your cancer. So Martha asked me to speak a little bit about what happened with the pandemic in our research program. And it was for everybody, as I'm sure it's for all of you, it was a bit of a shock that we suddenly had to go into lockdown. And it was true for scientists as well. We had to leave our labs and we were supposed to go home and not work. And I know for my own personal lab research group, was about 20 people, they were all extremely disappointed that they couldn't carry on with their research projects. for a very brief time, because there was an exception made. And the exception was, if you were working on something to do with COVID research, you could go back to your lab. So my group sort of got together on the phone and we said, you know what, we should go back to work anyhow, we want to. And so why don't we turn what we've learned for attacking cancer to finding a way to attack virus-infected cells, essentially ways to use what we've already learned in cancer treatment to start to fight the COVID virus as it infected people. And so there was quite a few stories actually that I was quite pleased with, the people in the COVCO group from across the country who were able to get back in their labs after a very short time and begin to work again, now redirecting their research programs towards trying to fight COVID. And it was really important to us because, you know, if you think about who was some of the most sensitive people to COVID infections, it were people who are in cancer therapy because their immune systems have been probably impacted by their therapy, and they were most at risk. So we felt it was important for us to do something really to continue to help not only generating new therapies, but finding ways to protect these people who are at such high risk. And one of my colleagues, Rebecca Auer, who is in COVCO, she was able to start a clinical study. And in that clinical study, she was able to show that by using a kind of immune stimulant that was previously used in bladder cancer treatment, she was able to show that she could actually train cancer patients' immune systems to begin to be more active. And so in the midst of this pandemic, when it was impossible to do any work at all, Rebecca managed to start a clinical study. She used some of the resources that we had through COVCO, but also used that to leverage money from the Ontario Institute for Cancer Research and from BioCancerX, another organization we're affiliated with, to start a clinical study. And 150 patients have been now enrolled in this randomized trial to look at if it was possible to use some of these cancer immune stimulants in conjunction with a vaccine to help patients who maybe have very compromised immune systems. So that was one thing that I was pretty excited about. Another one of our COVCO investigators, Brian Lichty, who's in Hamilton, had been working on viruses for cancer therapy for some time and recognized that perhaps the problem with vaccination is that you're getting a shot in your arm, but the virus goes in through your nose. So could we actually vaccinate in this area of your body? And so he's created a vaccine which is soon to go into people that would be inhaled. And the idea there is that the vaccine would stimulate the immune system inside your nasal passages and in your lung areas so that you'd actually get the defense where you need to have it most. So that was pretty exciting. And that was, again, something that came out of the work that we've been doing already with viruses to try to treat cancer. One of the really bright postdocs in my lab had been developing strategies to look at how proteins interact with each other. And this is so we could figure out how normal cells signal and how cancer cells talk to each other. And he said, wait a second, maybe I can use the same system I'm doing, the so-called biosensor, to see how viruses interact with cells, in particular the COVID virus. And so he constructed what's called a biosensor, where there's two parts. One that is part from the virus and one that is part from the cell. And when they come together, they're linked to an enzyme that emits light. And so that allowed us to have a system to look to see when did a virus attach to a cell or a variant of a virus attached to a cell, and could we disrupt that interaction with antibodies, with drugs, and so on. And that actually, again, came out of our cancer-related project. We've published 6 papers on it in the last year, just on this biosensor alone. It's got a lot of uptake around the world. We share this reagent with people everywhere in the world. And there's people now using this to look for drugs that interrupt the virus ability to infect cells, because basically when they touch, you emit light, and when they don't touch, then you don't have a signal of light anymore. So you can use this as a screen to look for drugs which prevent virus binding to cells, which is pretty cool. And we found some new drugs that actually, interestingly enough, were already in use for other kinds of infectious diseases. And we found that they did interrupt the ability of the virus to infect cells, which is, I think, going to be really exciting as we move forward. But what he also showed was that we could measure antibodies' ability to block virus interactions. So, when you get vaccinated, what you do is you generate an antibody response that then binds to virus and interrupts its ability to infect the cell. And he showed through his biosensor that he could measure these antibodies. So the one thing that's come out of this that's been, I think, really exciting is he's shown that in patients who've been vaccinated with the Pfizer vaccine or the AstraZeneca vaccine or the Moderna vaccine, if he takes their antibodies, he can show that he can disrupt this biosensor, which is good and means, okay, we're measuring the antibody activity. But moreover, he's now constructed this biosensor to mimic these variants that have arisen in Brazil and India and other places in the world, and showed that that vaccine interrupts those interactions too. So this is great news because it shows that vaccination with the Pfizer vaccine or the Moderna vaccine or AstraZeneca protects you against these variants that are rising. So we were pretty excited about that, and that's work that's going to be coming out very soon in some publications. And then finally, just to speak about some work, other work that was done in my lab, I have a great colleague, Carolina Ilko, who's has her own research lab now. And we work together to generate novel vaccines that we thought would be really useful against COVID. And we've tested these now in a variety of animal models, and it looks like they're very, very effective. What's nice about them is we know that we can give them multiple times, and they simply just boost the immune response more and more. And so that's actually really useful to know for not only the COVID approach, but also for the ability to generate vaccines against various kinds of cancers, because we know we can keep priming with this vaccine and we'll increase and increase and increase the immune response that the patient has against their own cancer. So that was pretty exciting too. And we now carried that forward and have started another new project where we're actually modifying this approach to be able to use it in cancer patients, not only to protect them from COVID, but to have them recognize their cancer as foreign and generate an immune response against their cancer. The last thing I'll mention to you, because I think Martha told me if I didn't end on time, I'd get into trouble. So I'm going to only tell you one more thing. And that is that we, as a group, COVCO, many of the scientists in there felt that there were some developments that were happening in the United States, for instance, which were just not available to patients here in Canada. And this was really something that really bothered us a lot. And one of these was an immune cell-based therapy called CAR T therapy, which is just an acronym for means chimeric antigen receptor T cell therapy. And what it really means is you can take someone's immune cells out of their body and you can engineer them with a virus and put them back in again, and they'll begin to attack their cancer. And this has been very effective in certain kinds of acute leukemia. It wasn't available in Canada. It was only available by clinical studies in the United States. We were sending patients from all the provinces to be treated in the States, and it was costed $1 million per patient plus, a lot more than that sometimes. And we said, well, we've got all the things it takes to do this here in Canada. Why don't we just start doing it ourselves? And so we got some other sources of cash, and many of the scientists in COVCO banded together to do this. And we started a group that's now making CAR T cell therapies that are being tested and used in Canada. And we've treated a number of patients now, and we're really excited about this. So they're being manufactured in Victoria right now with one of our COVCO members. We're soon to manufacture them in Ottawa. We treated a number of patients, and some of those patients have had great responses. So that was something else that we felt we could keep going. And during COVID, it was temporarily shut down, but we lobbied to have it reopened again. And very quickly, we had that trial up and going and patients being treated with it again. So we really didn't miss too much time, despite the fact that, that COVID was intervening. So anyhow, just to say what I'm so proud about is that we've got a great group of scientists. They're very nimble and they think about problems all the time, and they want to work together to make them solve these problems. And really, this group is brought together and held together by the Terry Fox Foundation and Terry Fox money, because it helps us find a way to work together. And we have a great time doing it. We have a lot of fun solving these problems. And I might just mention the one thing we do every year is we want to get together, but it costs money to get together, as you can imagine. So what we do is we rent a place called Dorothy's Fishing Lodge, which is just about an hour outside of Ottawa. It's a fishing camp, and we all go there and we take turns cooking, which is a little bit dangerous, but we sort of have fun doing that. And because we're all a little bit A-type, we all try to make better and better foods. So we unfortunately couldn't have it this year, but we'll definitely have it next year. And these are great times. We bring students in and postdocs, and we think about the problem, the cancer problem, and work together. And it's really been something that's really been catalyzed again by the Terry Fox organization, which allows us to work together in such a cooperative way to really advance some of these really important discoveries to cancer patients. So anyhow, I'll stop there. And thank you very much for the work you're going to do for us again. It's amazing each year. I can't believe it myself. And it is so much fun. So I look forward to seeing some of you anyhow. Are we going to go live this year? Do we know yet, or is it unclear? Or?
I think, Dr. Bell, I love that you asked the question that everybody is asking, because of course you're a researcher and scientist. I think that in Ontario, we are going to be virtual this year. I think, you know, who knows, you know, things can always change, but I think probably that's pretty confidently where we're going to be landing. So you're going to have to just wave at all those amazing Ottawa participants as you go by on the Parkway.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that everybody, well, they can't give you a kiss, but if I was there with you in person today, I would be giving a huge hug and a kiss, because you know, I know that we have always been so grateful to our Terry Fox researchers, but I think that the world has a renewed appreciation for the gift that is science, and the gift that's people like you who have devoted their lives to making us healthier and bringing us back to health. So I just really wanted to say it's such an honor always to have you. I wanted to let you guys know too, Dr. Bell didn't tell us this time, probably because I gave him such a short time frame, but he actually named one of his children after Terry. So that is how very much connected he is to Terry Fox and Terry's mission. So Dr. Bell, you are a wonderful human being. Thank you for giving of yourself to all of us, and particularly for this morning, and being patient with our Zoom issues as well too.
Oh, thanks very much, and I really enjoy your meeting, and hope to see you all soon, eventually live.
But we'll be back.
We'll be back. That'll be great. Good. Nice to see all of you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bell.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay. Well, thank you, Dr. Bell. I know it's so strange to be able to just sort of have to say goodbye to people just so casually. But I was so proud at the beginning of COVID when I was reading about what was happening on the research front, and I saw that Dr. Bell's group was stepping forward and being able to take part in transitioning. I'm not going to use pivot, transitioning to COVID related research as well. And even hearing what he said just now about the work that they've been able to help Canadians in Canada, just extraordinary. So thank you guys. I mean, honestly, it's researchers. He said it himself, but you make their work possible, and that means you make all of us healthier. So thank you guys. I'm really delighted now to introduce, I think those of you who are on our April call met our new executive director, Michael Mazza. Michael's joined us from the Cancer Society, and previously headed up one of our big hospitals here in Toronto as well. Michael's brought an amazing energy to the foundation. It's really exciting. The plans, I'm exhausted. I had to put makeup on today because I'm working so hard. I think we're all working twice as hard as we ever have. But he's here today to share a little bit of exciting news, because we're nothing but planning ahead and planning forward to keep up with you guys. So welcome today, Michael, to our amazing group of Terry Foxers from Ontario.
Thanks, Martha. So actually, I prefer to follow the scientists. And there's a reason for that. I mean, we all do the work we do because, you know, Terry inspired us, but Terry's purpose was to fund cancer research and cure cancer. And it's people like Dr. Bell that are out there doing it. He really is one of Canada's stars, and the work he's doing in immunotherapy and CAR T cell development is really quite extraordinary. And I've had the pleasure to work with him in the past prior to Terry Fox. But they're doing some amazing work, and it fires me up every day to sort of want to work harder. And I'm hoping that Martha's saying she's only working harder because she's fired up and not for any fear-based reason.
Fear. I feel no fear, Michael. You know me.
I do. So I want to say thank you. You know, peer-to-peer fundraising is a tough gig. It's been under a lot of pressure in the last 10 years. It can be a very expensive endeavor. But the Terry Fox Foundation is really one of Canada's, well, it is Canada's best practice model as far as I'm concerned. And there's just one reason for it: it's the run organizers. The work you do, that like you just do it. You act like staff, and you go out and you have visions, and you execute your runs, and you mobilize your communities, and you do the advertising, and you raise the money, pay for the expenses, and it's really quite amazing. And I want to say thank you, and it's a privilege to sort of be affiliated with Terry Fox now, and the volunteers and the donors in this organization. I do want to emphasize virtual, and it's funny because we all want the other answer, so we all keep thinking that we're haven't provided definitive answers when we're being asked about whether we'll be virtual or in person. But the likelihood is, if you're reading the papers this week, there was a lot of news about uncertainty about if and when herd immunity would ever be reached, and those are just the questions that none of us are able to answer. So until those health leaders say that we can get back in person, then for us, we should anticipate planning virtual runs. I was so amazed last year, like an organization that is dependent on peer-to-peer fundraising, and suddenly you're not allowed to gather and get together. I would have thought that Terry Fox would have been in dire straits, and it would have been a catastrophic year. And yet the community runs raised similar to what they have previously, and the Ontario runs, hit their second highest level. And so in person, virtual, you seem to be able to do it, and that's amazing. So I feel very confident that we can excel this year and grow our runs in a virtual setting. And if the health people leaders say come September that we can all be in person, then I think we could probably pivot in a very minimalistic runs where we don't have the banners and the tents and all the cool stuff that you coordinate, but we could at least gather and see people. And I think that will be a step towards our 2022 runs, in which we'll reinvigorate and get back together, and that will be something exciting for us to sort of look forward to and work towards. We are working on a number of ideas that are going to be introduced today, and it's all about digital transformation. And so I'm not going to talk about what they are because others are going to, but I will give you a reason why we need to look at digital transformation. Movember was the #1 peer-to-peer fundraiser in Canada last year. And I know this is a competitive group, and we want it back. And the one thing I can say about Movember is they're 100% digital. Like nobody does anything; they just do it all online and grow mustaches, and that's all they do. But we have the power of Terry Fox that inspires us, and people that want to connect to that. So I think that we can get back, and I think some of the things the team's working on is going to help us do that. The other one that we're working on is we're going to be doing a 1-hour broadcast on CBC this year. The broadcast is going to be on August 9th. It is the day after the Olympics. I'm hoping the Canadian team does really well because when we win gold medals, the population's in a good mood. And I'm hoping they're in a good mood for our broadcast. It's going to be pre-taped because of COVID. It's going to be commercial free because we don't believe in commercials. And we are going to assemble, some of the top celebrities and athletes in the country, cancer survivors, youth that go out and do extraordinary things despite their age, and really try to inspire the nation and do what Terry's always done for us, which is bring us together and bond over something that we all believe is a significant problem, and that's cancer. 1 in 2 people are still being diagnosed. 1 in 4 are still dying. This is an awful disease, and we need to change. We need to change that narrative. We don't have our list of celebrities yet. But it is growing. Some of the regulars like Daryl Sittler and Jay Triano, like they're already like, I'm in. But we're working on some other exciting ones. I'll share some names, but whether or not they come in, we'll see. But these are the Ryan Reynolds and the Shawn Mendez's and Celine Dion, and we'll see who answers the call. The hope is once one and or two that it starts to snowball. The other thing I want to share about the broadcast is because this is ours, so we're investing in the production. And so we're going to own everything. While they're doing the production, we're going to be asking them to, if you have, a Ryan Reynolds, why don't you just tape an extra little bit that we can create into a run show? And so I'm telling you about the possibility of a run show, not knowing if we're going to be able to pull this off or not. But if we're in a virtual setting, one of the things that we hope to do is pull people together, and we believe that an entertaining show can help us to do that. We can, every run organizer can set it to the time that they want, and what it allows is people watch the show, and then hopefully we all exit our doors simultaneously, and we start to see other people out on the streets with Terry Fox shirts as we start doing our own personal runs and things like that. The other part of it that we hope to do, and again, we're just working through some of the technology, is if we create like a 15 to 20-minute run show, and let's say Perdita Felician, I didn't say her name very well, but let's say she does our warm up, right? And so after she does the warm up, we all go running. But before that, we think that we can attach a personal run show to everybody's personal URL run, which means the run organizers might get to do their own 5 to 10 minutes prior, that then personalizes it for their community and for the people that they know, and they can call out people and all those sorts of things. And then you sort of flip to the national show, and then everybody goes running. So those are some of the things that we're working on. I'm excited. I've really enjoyed the first few months here. What's interesting is I was in grade 6 when Terry was running, and my teacher, Ron Whitesick, really got attached to Terry, and then he got us all attached to Terry, and we talked about Terry every single day. And I told that story, and then Sherry Doble, who's on the call today, I grew up with her, and we went to class together. We were in Ron's class together, and she said, "I know Ron Whitesick." She was Sherry Downs then, but it's funny. Like, our little village was 800 people, and here's Sherry, here's me, here's Ron. Like, we're all connected with Terry Fox, and we're all inspired by him. So I'm excited. I hope you guys enjoy this. I look forward to seeing the results this year, and I'm just super grateful for every hour of work you put in for us. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael. It's really it's a delight to work with you. I love the energy that you bring. I think our run organizers are really going to appreciate your vision and your faith in their work. So thank you for your kind words and for your leadership. Michael is I think going to be working pretty well night and day now for the next what's your contract worth? 20 years, Michael? Okay.
It's until they say.
Okay, good. All right. Well, then we'll continue to uplift you. But thank you. It's really just a pleasure, and thank you for getting the broadcast going too. I think Canadians, as you said, like coming off the Olympics and Terry, I don't think prouder moments for our country. So this is amazing news. Thanks, Michael. I'm now delighted to introduce our new tech Fred, I think we're going to call him. Fred has been working with Gabe, our new ops director in BC, and our school team here in Ontario to bring himself to the masses. Normally, poor Fred has, had a very lonely past 18 months. He normally is a superstar for us, as you all know, traveling around the country, visiting schools and communities. And it's been very hard for him, I think, personally, to not have that in his life. And also for us not to be able to see Fred and not to be part of the incredible feeling he engenders when he visits all of us in our provinces. So we've evolved Fred. Actually, I'm going to call you Fred 2.0, if that's okay. And Fred's going to share some things today that actually he just found, he said, in his garage, and it's going to be new to all of us. So I'm incredibly honored. I miss you, Fred. I miss giving you a hug. I miss my father giving you a hard time. But I know we'll be together again soon. So for today, thank you for zooming in for us and sharing some of your heart. Welcome, Mr. Fox.
Thank you, Martha. What I'll do before I continue to speak, I'm gonna share. Hopefully this is gonna work. We had a great, here, let me see where I am now. Sorry, you guys. Yeah, I'm gonna share my screen. Is this gonna work? Post. Can everybody see that?
Yes,
On my screen?
we can see you and Terry.
Okay, so sorry about this. Let me just go to the next thing here and get us started. Okay. Okay, so don't know if you can see me or not. Can everybody see me? Hopefully you can. I can't hear you. I can't see you.
Freddie,
Yes.
1 second. I just want to tell people, if you're having problems seeing Fred, Kim this morning was having problems seeing Fred's side photo. Just fiddle around with your view at the top. You can get rit of some of the people on the side or the front, and you'll come to seeing Fred's full screen if you're having any problems.
I have spotlighted Fred, so everybody should have him in the middle of their screen.
Perfect. That's
Okay.
Great.
Awesome. So,
Thank
and
you.
everybody can see that I'm on the presentation now, so that's good. So, let me continue because I know my time is short. Just again, thank you, Martha, for the introduction, and you know, you guys, all of my friends, my friends and the people I've met over the years in Ontario. It's been a long time, and it's been a challenging year for all of us. And the last time I was in Ontario was, September, October of 2019. It seems so long ago when I was in Kingston and then in Ottawa, and then flying from Ottawa to Alberta to do the Terry Fox Run in Lethbridge and Tabor. And I miss you guys so much. I miss the opportunity to travel and to share Terry and to be with you guys who do so much to continue what Terry started 41 years ago. And this has been an amazing week speaking with schools, but we're not going to get into that right now. So, as Martha said, I just wanted to share today a few memories of when I was able to spend some time with Terry in Toronto when he arrived in Toronto, and then in Wawa, and then and a little bit of story before and after those two times as well. It's so funny why things happen the way they do, and I happen to be in my garage looking for a few things. I found this box that's moved from the attic to a bedroom closet to the garage, and I found it, and I started shuffling through it, and I found a few things that I'd only seen once before since 1980, 1981, and I've shared this past year with the 40th anniversary some photos with Martha that I've taken, and so I'm going to be sharing some photos and hopefully touch on some stories behind each photo or the time, and most of the photos you'll see are ones that I've taken or were taken with my camera, and a lot of them I stole from Gail Harvey, but so I just want to get started and do this. So this picture here is Easter Sunday, April 6th, 1980, and kind of our last supper together with Terry before he and Doug left for Newfoundland. And April 6th, we're gathering, and all you can see in this photo here is myself, my wife, soon-to-be wife Teresa, Dad, and then Terry in the yellow shirt there. The next morning, on the 7th of April, we all headed to the Vancouver International Airport and to send Terry and Doug off to Newfoundland. And this is Terry's last little entry in his training diary. He's saying today we're heading to to St. John's, leaving for St. John's, and he wrote how many kilometers he had ran in his training, and it was, you know, how many miles, and it was 3,159 miles, over 5,000 kilometers in training is what Terry did. One of the items that I found in my in my basement, or in the garage, and you know, it's quite amazing. Terry had the opportunity to send a few postcards, and you know, and it's you know, that he had that opportunity, and you know, we missed Terry so much, and finally on April 30th, Terry got to send me the very first postcard. Now, some of you might be able to read this, but you know, April 30th, Terry was in I think Grand Falls in Newfoundland, and he writes, "Hello, Freddie Freeloader, Fall Off, Fartface, Fox, and Teresa. Today is April 27th, averaging 25 miles a day. Hope to do more. Covered already 362 miles. Snowed all day, but it didn't stay on the road. Very cold today. So far, it has been great, but tough. But a tough adventure. We are warmly received everywhere, raising lots of money. So long for now." I haven't seen this postcard, you know, only once since 1981. And Terry sent 4 postcards, one from every province, Newfoundland, PEI, Nova Scotia, and New Brunswick. I only single this one out again, as Terry wrote to Teresa and I, and saying, "I hope you two are doing well. Have run 714 miles on Highway 7 in Nova Scotia, beautiful country, very quiet, peaceful highway. Looking forward to seeing Mom and Dad in Halifax. Today we are on top of a hill in the country where we can't be found." And you know, when I was with Terry later on in Northern Ontario, and I'll talk about that, that seemed to be a common theme for Terry and Doug, you know, just getting some privacy along the way. And then another postcard in New Brunswick, and Terry was having a tough day. His artificial limb, the bucket, wasn't fitting very well, and Terry makes a note that Daryl had just arrived. So I never had the opportunity to be with Terry too much. I was asked to join Terry, but I was working at the time, and in a pretty solid relationship with my soon-to-be wife, so I just couldn't leave, and so they asked Daryl to join in New Brunswick. Mom and Dad, I actually took the red-eye flight on Friday, on July 10th, the evening of July 10th. Took the red-eye, arrived in Toronto around 7 in the morning. I got picked up by somebody at the Four Seasons Hotel, and that's where Terry, Daryl, and Doug, and Mom and Dad and Judy had already arrived. So here we are, the morning of July 11th, outside of the Four Seasons Hotel. Who could have ever have known that amongst that crowd behind us was Breda McClue, Martha's mom, and with Martha's brother Tim and Mark. You know, the connections, the things that happened. But here we are, you know, getting ready to run with Daryl Sittler. I could never figure out how Terry wanted Daryl Sittler to be involved, and it's amazing that he's still wanting to be involved all these years later. Terry's a Bruins fan, and don't know how ever Daryl Sittler became somebody that Terry looked up to. So here we are running down, this is either Avenue Road or University Avenue, and it was amazing. I never got to see Terry run any of those 5,000 kilometers that Terry ran before he left home, and finally able to run with Terry, and watching the thousands of people who were lining the streets that day to watch Terry run down towards City Hall. And here we are again. I'm getting closer to City Hall, running through downtown. You know, you see people on bikes and running beside us. I don't, you guys may have seen an image. There's a young, in either one of Gail Harvey's other photos, of a little girl, she might have been 12, 13 years old, on roller skates. And I always wonder, you know, where are these people today? So on the stage at City Hall in Toronto, amazing, 10,000 people there. It was so amazing to be there and see, you know, to see how people were responding to what Terry had started. pretty cool. One of my photos that I took that day, people just wanting to be so close to Terry and to maybe shake his hand or get something signed by Terry. It was amazing to be there. A quiet moment back at the Four Seasons Hotel. Terry wearing Daryl Sittler's All-Star jersey. Doug doing what Doug was doing all the time, on the phone, trying to make that next connection for Terry, maybe through media or whatever. Doug was such an amazing support for Terry. Later that afternoon, Terry had ran a few more kilometers past City Hall, and then one of the Toronto police officers came by the hotel later and brought a bunch of the money that had been handed to them while Terry was running down University Avenue. That couple of days that I was with Terry from July 11th, the morning of July 11th to July 13th was so amazing. We, on that night of the 11th and into the 12th, we had gone to the CN Tower. We had a breakfast with a bunch of dinner with a bunch of supporters at the Spaghetti Factory there in Toronto. And Mom and Dad and Judy and I had gone to Niagara Falls on the day before, the 13th and the 12th. And this picture here I took, not sure whereabouts on the lake shore it is, but I think just west of the CNE. Very early in the morning. I was catching a flight later that afternoon to head back home. About a month later, Teresa and I decided we had a couple weeks vacation and we headed east in Teresa's little Toyota car, and we made a couple stops in Winnipeg and in Manitoba along the way to visit family, never knowing where we were going to meet, find Terry, Daryl, and Doug. And we ended up finding them on, I think it was the evening of August 15th. Couldn't find them. It took me about 2 hours to find them. Terry had finished running for the day. We found them up a logging road just south of Wawa, Ontario. And they're both vehicles, the Camp Rise van that Terry had got from Ford, and then the one that Jim Pattison had donated, the big RV, up a logging road. Again, as Terry had said, in Nova Scotia, just go be somewhere where they couldn't be found, because people, even though it was a lot more remote in Northern Ontario, people were still wanting so much of Terry's time, and he just needed that privacy. Everybody, I think, knows the story about the Montreal River. This is the next morning. We arrived the night before that morning when Terry tackled the Montreal River Hill. It was amazing to watch Terry run. It was different in Toronto, but there in Northern Ontario, running up those hills, that when we were with Terry from the 15th, the evening of the 15th, and leaving him on August 19th, that was some of the most hilly. I just finished reading Terry's journal entries from those 4 days this morning, and it was some of the most hilly terrain that Terry had ran on during the Marathon of Hope. And then Doug, and all these pictures we're seeing now are ones that I took when we were with those guys. And Doug is a young unsung hero, and he was there for Terry right from the very beginning. And so what Terry would have done without Doug, I'm not too sure. So happy that Doug is a very quiet guy and very humble, but a big supporter for Terry. Again, the OPP, Jim, I know you're on the call. We're so amazing in support of Terry. So Daryl there standing with the OPP officer, they're probably talking about the fact that Daryl's driving that RV behind the OPP car and he doesn't actually have a driver's license. And Lou Fine is walking there. Martha, you guys might recognize Lou. Kimber, that's Lou in there walking behind the police car. Again, it was so amazing to watch Terry run. Here, Terry, we were following Terry, supporting Terry those 3 or 4 days, doing what I could, running. I spent some time running with him. But here, Terry is what he always was. He was joking around. I'm taking this picture and he's sticking his tongue out at me. And I often talk about the statues that are here in Vancouver. And they remind me so much of the time that I spent with Terry south of Wawa. the 4 statues that are at Terry Fox Plaza here outside of BC Place Stadium. You know, the statues started, you know, maybe about life size, but they get bigger. And when you stand in front of those 4 statues from a distance, it's exactly what it was like watching Terry get closer to you. He started off as this little guy, this little image way in the distance, and he got bigger than life as he got closer to you. Daryl and I, during that time as well, Terry, when we arrived in just south of Wawa, about would have been about August 17th. Terry had there was some media attention that Terry wasn't very good for Terry from actually a writer here, a newspaper writer here in the Vancouver area, and you know, there was a lot of stuff going on. Terry was having some rough days right now, not doing very well, and you know, the guy Terry and you know his team of Doug and Daryl, you know, there was some stuff going on, and Terry, Daryl, and I had a really good chat. Terry wanted me to talk to them, and so things could be worked out a little bit, and we had a great brotherly chat, and it was so good to be there to play a bit of a part in what was happening over the next couple of days. Again, one of those images of Terry, not like Toronto, not with 10,000 people, but every now and then Terry would run by and there'd be people waiting along the remote highway waiting for Terry to come by. It was pretty amazing. Kept track of the mileage on the side of the van. Teresa taking this picture. You know, we all know that Terry ran 3,339 miles. At this point, there was no way of knowing how close we were when we spent that time in near Wawa with Terry, how close it was before he would be having to be forced to stop the run. You know, and we did what we can. And here I am, with a big yellow slow sign, getting the traffic to slow down, because it was a point where on the highway where there wasn't quite as much room for the motorhomes to support Terry. Picture of Terry and I. There was one night, the night before we arrived in Wawa. We were at Terry. We stayed in a campground that night, and it was an amazing night. We had a great dinner. You know, at this point, you know, Terry, when he ran every day, when he ran those miles every day, running a marathon every day, he would stop every 2 miles for a water break. And Terry had a really bad cough. And even that night when we were having supper at the campground, Terry was really struggling with coughing a little bit. And I never really thought too much about it, other than the fact that maybe he had the cold, or you know, he's been running every day. Of course, he's going to get run down a little bit and all that. Not ever imagining what would be causing him to be coughing and not having a clear pathway to breathe. Bill Viggers, Bill was around at that point in Northern Ontario. He wasn't always with the guys, but a good portion of the time. And Bill did so much to get the attention that Terry and the funding of cancer research that Terry was doing, trying to raise money for cancer research. And Doug was with us when we were at the campground there, and not sure what Doug is actually doing there, but what a great support Bill was. And again, another photo of mine here of Terry running. Again, that image of him running up a huge hill with the support of the OPP. You know, we happened to be, when Teresa and I were with Terry and Doug and Daryl, everybody, I'm not sure if you've all seen the I Had a Dream documentary that CBC did. And we just happened to be in those 3 or 4 days that we were with those guys, the CBC crew, I Had a Dream crew were there as well. And so here is, you can see one of the sound guys or camera guys there as Terry was coming in to take a break. And it was really funny. And if you've ever seen that movie, the documentary, you'll when I get a chance to watch it, I can pick out the different points where they were and where we were. And they set up, we'd been with Terry and Daryl and Doug for about 2 days, and they wanted to set up. Terry was sitting in the van on the bench, the door wide open, and I walk up to the doors of the van, and we had to pretend we had just seen each other. We've been together for 2 days, but we had to pretend that it was just a brand new meeting for each other since a month earlier in Toronto. Again, we're in just in Wawa, just before the reception there, and again, a quiet moment like that same kind of picture that I had taken in Toronto with Terry sitting on the couch, and again, Doug on the phone trying to line something up for the next day once he left Wawa the next morning. And then the reception at the hockey arena in Wawa. And again, I had a chance to hear Terry speak when he was at City Hall in Toronto, and this arena was packed in Wawa to hear Terry speak. And again, it was amazing, and those memories that we'll never forget, and be so thankful that even though I wasn't able to be with Terry every day of the Marathon of Hope, we had a few moments to share. And then, as I say, I said how many times this past week when we were doing the virtual school meets this week that, the very last picture taken of Terry and I during the Marathon of Hope, it was the morning of August 19th, and Teresa's taking this picture, and Terry, as he always did, always hamming it up, always playing a joke, always joking around. And a few minutes later, he's out in the highway running west towards home. And Teresa and I had to get back to work in where we were working in Coquitlam area of Poco and the Tri-Cities, and that's I didn't know when I'd see Terry again. Maybe catch up with him in Winnipeg when he arrived in Winnipeg. Who knows? Maybe some point in BC before he arrived home in the Lower Mainland. Little did we know that 10 or 11 days later, on September 1st, I was with my mom and dad and Judy and Teresa, and we were in Chilliwack at a fundraising event for the Marathon of Hope. And at the end of the day, we were driving home. Dad was driving the car, and he turned on the radio to listen to the news. And the first news story on the radio was Terry Fox is in hospital in Thunder Bay. That's how Mom and Dad found out. And I've shared that story this week with the school kids, the students, and saying, like, we didn't have cell phones. Nobody could phone Mom and Dad, and we were an hour away from Port Coquitlam at that point. And when we got to Mom and Dad's driveway, out of the car, you could hear the phone ringing, and Mom ran into the house to answer the phone, and it was Terry on the phone. He'd been trying to get a hold of him all day, and he asked if they had heard the news, and Mom said, "Yeah, we heard you're in the hospital. What's going on?" And Terry said, "Mom, the cancer has returned to my lungs. I have to come back home and get better." And so Mom and Dad flew to Thunder Bay, brought Terry home. A few days, September 19th, Terry received the Companion of the Order of Canada from Governor General Ed Schreier in City Hall in Port Coquitlam. And Canadians at that point were so supportive of Terry. The mail, I have a picture of this day later that evening, when we were celebrating. It was an evening of celebration. Terry receiving this award, the Companion of the Order of Canada. I've got a picture of myself with a pile of mail in the background from Canadians who were sending all of their love and support to Terry. And it truly was a happy evening. We were celebrating, and again, Dad joking around, and Terry really enjoying the evening, enjoying the company. And Terry with our grandmother, our Nana, my mom's mom. And today, everybody may have noticed I'm wearing this year's T-shirt design and the Métis design, and this is where our Métis connection comes from. Is from our grandmother, Nana, mom's mom. So again, it's the time that I was able to spend with Terry, whether in Toronto and Northern Ontario, and the postcards, something I haven't been able to bring myself to read or to find all these years later. But a picture again of Terry just contemplating, some questions from the media here about what he was facing during the Marathon of Hope and everything else. And Terry really felt that he would get back out to Thunder Bay in the spring of 1981, but that didn't happen. one of the other things I found in the box in the garage was a birthday card that Terry had given to me in May of 1981. It was my birthday last week. So again, the connection, the coincidence of me finding this week, and I hadn't seen this since May of 1981. And I won't read the words. Hopefully you can see those, but when I read those words today, it's so fitting what Terry had accepted, what was happening. And again, this would be May 21st, 1981, and Terry passed away, about 5 weeks later. So, again, everything that Terry went through. So I just want to, finish up by, again, using this logo here that we had for the Terry Fox Run last year, the 40th anniversaries. What a challenging year, and you guys made it such a huge success. We figured out last year that in Terry's name was the word try, and so many Canadians, and especially in all of you in Toronto, who were so supportive of what Terry was doing in 1980. You guys did that Terry Fox try. And truly believe, as Terry thought, that dreams are made if people try, and you guys continue the dream for Terry, for all of those who have been diagnosed with cancer. And on behalf of our family and all of us here at Terry Fox Foundation, thank you for what you guys do, and for allowing me to share a little bit about Terry and my small connection. So thank you very much, and hope we can see you guys one day soon. Thank you.
Oh, Fred, that was, I'm so honored, Fred. I know we are all honored reading the comments that are coming down from from run organizers in the chat that you would share those times with us. The photos are amazing, Fred. And there was so much that you and Terry shared. It's really an honor that you would share that with us. Thank you so much. And for your love and kindness and encouragement of everything that we all do, staff and volunteers. You are the heart of the Terry Fox Foundation, and you give us so much encouragement every single day to keep going. So we can't wait till we're together again, and you can sign 800 of the new books, Fred. And we can all ask you to do a million things for us, of which you will say yes to every single one of them.
Hey, I need to really quick to kind of change something here, but I got to thank Gabe, because about a week ago I had no idea what the heck I was doing, but I figured this Prezi thing out fairly well, thanks to Gabe, and it's been good. So, yeah.
Looking good, Fred.
It was fantastic. I can't believe it. I'm like, this is incredible. This is incredible Terry Fox technology, we're going to call it. And I wanted to let you guys know, so Fred is, as we said, or mentioned at the beginning, Fred's engaging in this amazing school program. Fred, do you know how many kids you spoke to last week?
Wendy, Gabe, Wendy, you might know, but several thousand. I'm thinking we're probably 3,000 kids, 4,000 kids we might have spoke to this week.
It was amazing. And so Fred is, you guys remember, Fred is always available for your committee meetings. If you want to have him join you with your team, with a group of your supporters, if you have some corporate, supporters locally that you'd like to engage more, there is no greater gift than to bring Fred to a Zoom meeting. So we will have the account available again for you guys to use, the free Zoom account from last year. And Fred is also available with his Prezi. So Fred 2.0, if you like to book him in, for sure, reach out and we can make that happen too. So thank you, Fred. Thank you, Fred. I adore you. You are the best. It seems very appropriate. Thank you guys for being so patient with us. We are a little bit behind, as you probably know. We were planning to end at 11:30. I just want to let you know we are going to go a bit long, and but it is being recorded. So if you have to go, we'll of course totally understand. And we'll have the recording ready on Monday to go up as well. So I just wanted to give you that little heads up. I think that I wanted to do just a quick presentation. We normally at the workshop have a wonderful legacy and milestone award. I'm going to just share my screen, and it's oh, Gabe's going to have to enable my screen. Normally we know who's coming to the workshop, but we didn't really know this year. So I wanted to just really go through a little bit of an acknowledgement, because as Fred sort of said so eloquently, you guys are the heart of the foundation, and the only thing that we can give you is our gratitude. And as you know, in past years, we do a little legacy and a milestone award. It's very low tech. Michael would like this. It's a piece of paper that's printed, and it's, I mean, you guys can't see me with Terry in the back. There we go. And it acknowledges your community's milestone. Now, of course, at the workshop, you can put it on your desk and you can flaunt it, and you can have your humble brag going all day. We are going to print those again this year just to keep it consistent, and we'll have to do last year's too, because we missed that. But if I can, Gabe, if you don't mind letting me share my screen, and I can just go through quickly. I won't be able to name, there's so many of them, but I just wanted to show you guys who we can acknowledge for this past 2020. So I didn't think that there was really any better way than to start off with the fact that it's remarkable what you guys have done. I'm just going to switch my, here we go. So we have two different types of acknowledgement awards. One is, of course, well, this is a little bit of a different one. I thought it was really important that we acknowledge, I don't know if these organizers are on the call today, but we had two communities actually join us for the first time in a pandemic year. So I'm calling this the Pandemic Award. Kagawong and Port Dover, newbies. And the award doesn't read always like this, but this one says, in recognition of a community that dares to dream big, that imagines a world without cancer, and doesn't let a worldwide pandemic get in the way of finding a cure. So kudos to these communities. We were honored to have you join us last year and have you back again this year. So what we do is on the Legacy Awards, they are in recognition of milestones based on the years that the runs have happened. So for the normal little recognition, it says, in recognition of a community that dares to dream big, that imagines a world without cancer, that does its best to make a difference with every run. So I'm just going to quickly go through the screens. I would love to be able to read them all out, but as you see in a second, we will, you're going to find out that there are some communities that have given 40 years that are an extraordinary contribution to cancer research. These are all incredible tributes to the run organizers, many of whom I hope are on this call, so they can appreciate that this kind of contribution to a cause and to an organization is incredible. And it really does humble us to be part of the gift that you give and that your community gives. It also, I think, is a recognition of how the Terry Fox Run has become embedded as an important event in every single one of these communities. And things like that don't last that long in our world, I think. We wish they would last a little longer, but that's not always the case. And I think when we see, like on this screen, with 35 years of the Terry Fox Run existing in these communities, it is a tribute to the volunteers and to the participants who have determined that the Terry Fox Run matters to them. Now, I got to say, what kind of blew me away is, I think a lot of you know that we didn't have a lot of data for the 40th and for the first year of the run, 1981. But Pamela, one of our volunteers in the beaches, spent some time this year combing through newspaper articles from 1981, and we found a lot of extra data. So all of these communities, we have been able to establish hosted runs in 1981. And has made them part of the 40-year club, which is beyond an incredible contribution. It is a community that has committed to Terry Fox from the very beginning, and will obviously continue to commit to Terry Fox. So to the run organizers that are on this call, I so wish we were together. We would have you all at the front of the room. You'd get your little paper cards. We'd all hug, and we'd be able to tell you how amazing you are. It's not quite the same with Zoom, but it still makes a difference, because I don't think we can ever acknowledge the gratitude that we feel. So those were our legacy awards. Thank you to those incredible communities. Last year's, I'm so sorry. We will also make sure that we acknowledge you for last year, for if you hit any of those milestones, not the 40 obviously, but in 2019. We follow on with our milestone award, which is in recognition of outstanding effort in fundraising for cancer research. So these are all the communities. Again, there's so many, too many to unfortunately name individually, but these are all ones that hit a particular milestone in the 2020 year. These are extraordinary when you think, and you look at some of the sizes of some of these tiny little communities across Canada, and you realize that this is the commitment that you have made and you have made possible for cancer research. These are extraordinary numbers. These are, as we know, we don't have we don't have major gifts and big donations. These are dollars and cents at a time. And, I'd like to give a shout out in particular to their CFB Borden, our incredible members of the military who have been there for us every year and have raised that remarkable amount. These are numbers that I feel so incredibly proud. And what I love is the way that you all celebrate them and you recognize that they are a gift to cancer research and a gift to cancer patients. In the $1 Million Club, these numbers are extraordinary. And again, in communities that would not necessarily ever, you would think could reach that number, but that's because of the way that the team on this call drive the cause of cancer research forward. And we have some of our ones that are creeping up, and some congratulations to those who've hit the $2 million mark. Again, some small communities with big, big hearts, and some big cities with hearts that don't stop for Terry. And we've got some in our 2 and upwards now, 3 million. Amazing. And then our final ones, the ones that have been around for a long time and have done some great, great work, Ottawa, UCC, and of course, Wilkett Creek, who in great honor, that's a tribute to, I believe, our founder of the Terry Fox Run, Isidore Sharp. That team and his team at the Four Seasons Hotel and head office do tremendous work for Terry Fox. So I just wanted to really share that quickly. I know that our time is so short, but I felt there's nothing more important than gratitude. And if we can't thank you in person, we can certainly thank you by this screen. And my daughter was very funny last night as I was putting this together. And she said, "Now, Mommy, you're going to wait so that they can screenshot them." And I said, "No, I can't wait. I won't have enough time. But we will make sure that you can get these out and you guys can share them on your social media as well." So it's 11:30. So again, just wanted to say, if any of you guys have to drop off, no problem. Thank you so much for coming. And we're just going to have now, we've asked 3 organizers if they could share what we're calling Pandemic Fundraising 102. We believe 101 was last year. We've passed that course, you guys. I'm going to give you should I give you an A+? Should I be nice about it? Should I give you maybe an A- just to keep you working, keep you hungry? It's going to be another interesting year, and we wanted to make sure we could invite run organizers that could share some ideas about what worked for them last year and that we could all pick up going forward. So the first speaker is Nigel from Wilmot, who is organizing this year a silent auction. As you guys know, Nigel and Char do some amazing innovative events in their community. And we wanted to share this one because we felt like it's important in terms of keeping connection with a lot of your supporters in your local communities. allowing us having a silent auction. While there may be some technical parts to it, it does allow you to stay connected to the companies that have supported the RUD. And also, of course, right now we know how important it is to support local businesses as well. So it's a win-win, I think, on both sides. So I do love, hello. Nigel, could you please share your screen a little bit with your beautiful wife? Look, she's being shoved in the back. She's an important member of our, yeah, thank you, Shar. Okay, all right, Nigel and Shar, I give it over to you. Thank you guys so much. Pleasure to have you guys with us.
Well, bless you. Thank you so much. This is a lot of tough acts to follow today. Thank you, everyone. Good to see you all. Sorry we can't all be together, of course. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Can I get a thumbs up? Okay, perfect. We've been holding our annual silent auction since 2015. For the first 2 years, it was a live in-person event that lasted for 2 or 3 hours. Our local fall fair would donate the space to us on the Saturday before run day, so we'd get fair attendees coming to bid. We'd have items displayed on tables with the bid sheets alongside them. But as we became more active on social media, we found it was easier to hold an online event because we could share links to the main auction page or even to individual items. Can you see that? So can you see my screen okay? Oh, there we go. So the online service we use is called 32 Auctions. It's free for up to 20 items, but you're only allowed one photo of each one. And so we pay for an upgrade for our auction so that we can have up to 100 items with 4 decent sized pictures. It's an American site, so all the service is billed in US dollars. However, you can set the currency as Canadian for the items you're selling. And our upgrades cost us about $60 Canadian. We receive a municipal grant each year, which can be used to promote or produce community events. So that's what we use to pay for this. And we also we buy targeted Facebook ads to promote the auction. We have about 40 donated items each year from local businesses and residents. Last year, of course, COVID hit our local economy pretty badly, so the same as all of yours. So we didn't want to put pressure on local businesses by asking for donations. Invoking Terry's name opens a lot of doors and hearts and wallets. But with all the trauma that's been caused by numerous lockdowns, we didn't feel comfortable even asking. So many local businesses are owned by our friends, so we know what they're going through. So because of that, we only asked businesses that we were sure weren't doing too badly, which was a much smaller number than we would normally approach. Last year, we also opened up our donation requests to local residents by posting on social media, such as community Facebook pages. I think a lot of what we received was probably regifted or products that people picked up at sales and never opened. Our online auction last year felt a bit like a garage sale. And I'm not looking down my nose at what we were given. People in our community were incredibly generous during a tough time, and they gave us what they could. They contributed however they were able, and we're incredibly grateful for that. So we spend a day or so going around town, collecting donated items, or people drop them off at our house. I have a decent camera on my phone, so I use a shelf at home that's on a plain, neutral colored wall to take photos of the items from different angles and close-ups of interesting details. I place the item in the middle of the shot and shoot it landscape or horizontally. And the horizontal format works well on Facebook and Twitter. And by having a bit of space around the item, we can also crop it square for Instagram. For 32 auctions, it doesn't matter if the pics are square or horizontal. So that formatting consideration is just for social media. For large items, we might take photos of the donor with the item. So they're giving to us, so we can give them a little bit of love. This is the intro page for a typical auction. You see on the left there that you can set the day and time for the start and end of the auction. I usually start on a Monday morning with final bids at 7 p.m. on Saturday the following week, so about 10 days. Our auction is in the last half of August, so when it's all over, we can focus our attention on the final push to run day. We usually get a flurry of bids on the first couple of days as people start to notice our promotions, and then escalating bids on the last day. There's not much activity in between, so it gets pretty quiet. We use that time to promote the event online, so people are aware of what's happening, but they might leave it late to place their final bids. Excuse me. A few years ago, Cheryl had the great idea of combining all of our restaurant gift certificates into a single auction item and listing and calling it a dining package. It's one of our more popular items. I don't know how much you can see on your screens, but we've included face value of the item, who donated it, how many bids there are, the highest bid, and the minimum bid increment. In this case, it has to be at least 5. This is important. We also explain on every page how the winning bidders can get hold of their items and how to pay for them. We try to avoid having to run all over town delivering stuff. We accept cash or e-transfers. 32 auctions allows for online payment, but there's a fee for every secure transaction, which is deducted from the money base. It's also quite complicated because you need to link your auction account to your bank account. It's really not worth the hassle or the loss of earnings. Sometimes asked if the winning bidder qualifies for a tax receipt, and they don't, because essentially buying something from us, getting a product in exchange for money, so they're not making a donation. I mentioned that we get a lot of bids towards the end. For this dining package, there were a total of 19 bids, and 8 of them came in the last 20 minutes. More going on. As I said earlier, we didn't push too hard with our auction last year. And while things are obviously still tough out there, I have seen other local nonprofits donations again for their auctions. So the generosity of our business community is returning. We're definitely going to give it a good push this fall. I'm hoping to maybe double our best ever previous target. We've used 32 auctions for other types of fundraisers too. Some of you might remember Cheryl's Chairs of Hope auction from a few years ago, where we had local artists decorate 12 Muskoka chairs, and that raised over $2.5 grand. Last year, in addition to the regular sign-up auction, we also had an earlier, smaller one that sold works of art donated by local artists. In that case, I don't think there's much value in breaking that out separately. So we're just going to combine everything, I think, this year. And that's it. Thank you for listening.
Nigel, can you hear me?
I can hear you, yep.
That was fantastic. Thank you so much. And Cher, I think you guys, your creativity is always so inspiring. And I think that it was, I follow Nigel's, I try to follow everybody's Instagram, but it was great for me to see what everybody was posting last year, because I had you're aware of it, but it's important to see, as Nigel talked a lot about, the pressure on local businesses and also supporting local businesses. And I thought that it was a very important message in a really difficult time. And so the message you just have given us too, Nigel, is it's still possible to do something like this. And I think it has a great application regardless of the size of community you're in as well. And it's wonderful when it can be a win-win. People are so kind to us. I want to tell you guys that can't remember the name of the bakery, Nigel, in Wilmot.
Caker Maker.
Yeah,
with a cupcake.
So they did an amazing Terry Fox fundraiser recently with cupcakes, and I have said to Nigel that I committed to buying a cupcake for all of you nitwits when we get back together at the next workshop. Now, Nigel and Cheryl are going to have to be responsible for bringing them. So,
oh, great!
Make sure we count them when you get there, because it'll be a trip for you guys with 200 cupcakes. But it's incredibly important, I think, for the foundation to always be perceived as being appreciative outward as well as for what we get back. So thank you guys for that. And I know, as you guys always know, Nigel's always available too, Nigel and Cheryl, to help out with any of these things. If you're interested, get started. And Jim was just saying, knowing your usual business donors and not tapping into them is really considerate as well, and allowing them to still be engaged because they want to make a difference. And they've always supported us. So it's wonderful.
So just a little quick one, Martha, there too, just to follow up on that. We had one business where we were doing the chairs a couple of years ago, and she came out to us and was upset that we didn't ask her. But that same business does a fundraiser for us with selling coffee. And again, just appreciating the fact that they've already donated one type of service is to let people know that we respect them and we were thankful for it. But yeah, our community out here is quite generous. So it's just a matter of trying to find that balance so that you don't exhaust their initiative and their desire to help.
We try not to double dip.
Yeah.
So we don't, if we may not get the same business involved in 2 different initiatives in the same year.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that's what makes it, it makes it special. I think Terry Foxers are very sensitive to what, because you guys, I mean, you're so extraordinary, the fact that you work without a budget. So you know the pressures that are already on in terms of trying to do more with less. And so I think that that's an incredible message to send across the board too. So thank you guys so much. And I was meant to try to buy one of those chairs. So if you ever do the chair of hope again, it'll be stuck more in my head. Yeah, I know, Cher, no pressure, Cher. So thank you guys so much. I'm going to ask, just to make things honest, Emma Coster, my daughter, has offered to, we're going to do a couple of door prizes because you guys have been so patient with us, but nobody trusts me. So I've asked my daughter to come in. Emma Coster, come here for a second. There's Emma.
I'm wearing the new shirt.
Oh, and Emma's wearing the new shirt. Can you see the new shirt? There we go. Freddie was wearing it as well. So I'm sorry, Emma got it early because she's special. Okay, so Emma Coster, we have got 3 screens here. I want you just to point to somebody, and the first prize, point to anybody. Okay. You tell me when you want me to stop. Somebody, yeah. Oh, Dawn in Liberty Village. Congratulations, you got an LCBO card for $50, Dawn. Dawn, are you a drinker? Okay, it doesn't matter if you're not. You can just leave it with me, because apparently Emma has taken up G&Ts from her grandmother's influence. Okay, next one, Emma Coster. We're going to go back and forth. Here we go. Emma Coster. Cindy Saucier in Embrun. Congratulations. A Suitables, which is a beautiful jewelry store here in Toronto. A Suitable silver bracelet. Cindy. Ooh, very nice. Very nice. Okay, and I don't have them up here, but I have a trio of 3 of the Adidas shirts from last year. 3 different shirts from last year. Emma, would you like to pick another person? Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, Vicky in Belleville, a set of 3 Adidas shirts from last year coming your way, my friend. Woohoo! I miss it. I miss not being able to throw things at you guys and have the staff run up and down and give them to the wrong people and not be able to see your faces, and all of you trying to cheat with your raffle tickets. Remember that when you're all say you're in the bathroom? Super sketchy, you people. Okay, last one before we go on to our next speaker. Kimber in the office there. I don't know if you can see Kimber on the screen. She has a Toronto Blue Jays folding beach chair. Now, the Jays are hot. Vladdy, God bless that man. Okay, so Emma, you're going to pick another one from 3 screens. Just point out anybody. Oh, in Huntsville. Who do we have in Huntsville? Let me see. Yes. Oh my God, captain of the Maple Leafs just won. John Tavares, we hope you enjoy your Toronto Blue Jay beach chair, my friend. Kimber. Okay, all right. Who? Oh my goodness. You'll have to put Kimber. Okay, we'll figure that out. Can you see? I know. You're gonna have to put your name up in a who's our Huntsville organizer? I can only see your Huntsville Muskoka. Unmute me. Gabe, can you unmute him? Okay, I think Kim can be unmuted. Look. Oh, I don't know if Gabe. Kimber, you might have to now unmute yourself. Oh,
I can.
Oh my goodness me. This has been hard. Okay. Who just won the chair?
Huntsville.
Is it Sharon? Is it Bill? I don't know. I've got lots of screens here.
Okay, you're gonna have to move over. Oh my God, this is hilarious.
Wave. Whoever has won, wave.
Or maybe put it in the chat.
Or maybe, yeah, or put it in the chat.
The
Oh
other
my God,
option
we
is
are
I can unmute
technologically
everybody,
genius.
Martha.
What's that, Gabe?
The other option is I can unmute everyone, and then
Oh, that's-
everyone can say I won at the same time.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. That's right. Okay. No, put it in the chat. That's a great idea. Okay. Oh my God, that was classic. Yes, put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. Okay, fantastic. Okay, Emma, we'll call you back. Thank you, Angel. Love you. Bye, baby. Okay. All right. Thank you. Great prizes. Kimberly Ann Smith, thank you for arranging all of those incredible prizes. We're also sad because you know what the prizes that I miss? I miss those kooky prizes that sometimes you guys bring. Do you remember one year, who was it that brought the plastic bags and the zip ties? It was like, I thought that was fantastic, but it was a little questionable as to what the point of those were. So we are delighted. And we miss everybody. You know, you guys bring the best gifts too, the wine and the cookies and the candles and the treats, chocolates. Okay, next year we'll be back up to 50 gifts, which we cannot, ever get done in time. Okay, so our next speaker is the always wonderful Alison Stoneman. From our Aurelia Terry Fox run. We introduced and actually Donna White from our BC office is also on the call today. Donna and Allison are both cancer survivors and are working on a Terry's team member initiative that we think will have a really great impact in helping us build those relationships. So I'm delighted to introduce Allison today on the call and welcome her and give her a very virtual hug.
Thanks, Martha. I'm
Thanks,
thrilled
Allie.
to be here. Gabe, could I share my screen, please? Gabe, may I please share my screen?
I thought you.
Oh,
Yeah,
here we
you
go.
could.
Okay,
You could.
thank you. Now, I do have a question for the techie, Gabe. Can I click on a video which will take us outside of my presentation? Or will that?
No, that's not gonna be. That's not unless you share your entire screen. Not sharing just the presentation. If you share your Windows screen, then that would work.
Okay.
And when you share your full window, you have to click. There's a little option that says share with audio.
Okay, I see the share sound. I do not see how to share my entire screen. Just screen? Sorry,
Yeah,
everybody.
just screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I think we're there. Okay, we'll give that a go.
Yes, you're there. That should work.
Thank you. I just need to get these controls out of the way so I can click the right button. All right, that's not working. Let me just start it this way. Okay, sorry, everybody. Here we go. So I am honored to present today about some things we're working on for the Terry's team members initiatives. Last year, I was honored to be part of the group that came up with the Terry Fox lawn sign program with Donna and Darren, and we introduced these not quite just before the run, but it was close. So I'm hoping that everybody on the call knows what a Terry's team member is, but just in case, Terry's team member is someone who has had personal diagnosis of cancer and is either in treatment or past treatment, and who stands as an example that cancer research works. So we want to honor our Terry's team members in many ways, but one of the ways that we've come up with is this Terry Fox lawn sign. And as Martha told you, I'm a run organizer in Aurelia, and I'm a almost 25-year cancer survivor. I'm very proud to be a cancer survivor and a Terry's team member. The design was created last year by our own Canada Summer Job student, Mackenzie Atkinson here in Aurelia for the lawn signs. We're very proud of the work Mackenzie did with us last year. And I want to talk about some of the benefits of the lawn sign program. The lawn signs directly connect Terry Fox to our neighbors, our colleagues, our friends. We see these people every day in our community, and we see that they're benefiting from the dollars that we raise for cancer research. The other great thing about the Terry's Team Long Sign program is that communities of any size can implement it. They make great visuals, urban, rural, large, small, every community can host the signs. If a Terry's Team member lives in an apartment building, you try and find a window that faces the road or something like that to include them as well. Another benefit of the Long Sign program is that it can enhance our outreach to cancer patients and survivors. And I often hear from our Terry Fox team or Terry's team members how much they love being part of this group. They bond with each other, they support, encourage each other. Sometimes it's difficult to talk about your cancer journey with anyone but survivors. Many also want to give back and raise awareness and funds for the Terry Fox Foundation is a great way for them to do so. The signs also encourage their neighbors and friends to begin a conversation with them that they might not otherwise have. The Long Sign program works very well within COVID restrictions, as there are no direct, there's no direct contact needed at all. Seeing the lawn signs also reminds us why fundraising for cancer research is important. The family pictured here is very close to Jim and I. In fact, they could use all of your healing thoughts and prayers right now. Alex, the Terry's team member, shown here with his wife Amanda and their son Elliot, first battled cancer just as Elliot was born. Alex started radiation 9 days after Elliot's birth, just over 3 years ago. Unfortunately, Alex's cancer has returned and is now stage 3, and he started chemo on Thursday. I can't think of any better reminder why fundraising for cancer research is so important. So how did we manage the program in 2020? Our Terry's team coordinator and I called all of our Terry's team members to ask them if they would host a sign. Some of them are reluctant to go public about their cancer journey, and that's perfectly okay. I had one volunteer who had worked on our registration table. I think she's worked on a registration table over 20 years now. And it took her about 8 years after she completed her successful cancer treatment to even wear the red t-shirt. And last fall, she proudly hosted a sign on her lawn. So it's perfectly okay if people aren't ready to talk about it. We move on to the next call. So after we got permission from our Terry's team members, we called on some of our volunteers to post the signs. And it was great to have a job for some of our dedicated volunteers. With COVID-19, so many of our usual volunteer positions weren't needed. So it was good to keep some of those folks active in the event in any way that we possibly could. So once the sign was posted, the volunteer left a note in their mailbox along with pledge form. And in the letter, we thanked them, let them know we would be back to pick up the signs on October 5th. I also included my phone number and email address in case they had any questions, concerns, or feedback. We left the signs up for a couple of weeks after the Terry Fox Run Day for exposure. And we decided here that we would have our volunteers collect the signs so that we knew they're properly taken care of and that we had them in our care. Although it's not nice to think about, some of our Terry's team members may not be with us in 12 months. They may move away or they may lose their lives. It's much easier for us to pick up the signs now than to have a difficult conversation with a grieving family. So we decided that we would pick them up again from the folks. So our plans for 2021, I think the only things that we'll do differently are start to post the signs earlier and to encourage more of our Cherries team members to host a sign. I just want to take a minute to show you how we've grown our Cherries team members here in Orillia. On the left is my first year with the Cherry Fox Run in Orillia as a survivor. And there we are with, I think there's 8 of us there. Unfortunately, I lost track of the 2 young ladies in the middle, and I'm so sad to report that all of the other people have now passed except me. I'm incredibly lucky, obviously, to still be here after so many before me. In the photo on the right is a recent photo of our Cherries team members, obviously not during COVID, but pre-COVID at our Cherry Fox Run Day. We have approximately 70 on our list, and they're not all in this photo because many of them are working on a registration table or our food tables or our water stations, and they couldn't come to the opening ceremonies right at that moment for the photo, but they do take part heavily in our event. Some others will, after ceremonies are over, will walk or run in our event. Others will take on other roles, such as manning water stations or cheering on our participants at the finish line or being route marshals. So I would encourage you to support and grow your Cherries team program. Every Cherries team member that participates benefits us in some way, whether they're doing their own fundraising, whether they're making awareness for cancer survivors, the benefits of cancer research, or they're volunteering with us. There are just so many benefits. So we have a dedicated Cherries team coordinator. This is Joanne in the green shirt. She's seated with her mom, Wilma. And Wilma, unfortunately, recently lost her battle with cancer, but she found great comfort in connecting with the other Cherries team members in the last few years of her life. Joanne is in contact with our Cherries team members throughout the summer. She's asking about participation, about volunteering, getting their t-shirt sizes, asking them to show up for events and opening ceremonies. And she really tries to develop a relationship with all of our Cherries team members. Again, I really think it's important to grow that program. So we have to nurture those relationships. So how do we grow and support? Again, we try and involve them in every aspect of the Cherry Fox Run events and promotions. The woman in the top left photo, her name is Donna, and believe it or not, she is a local social media influencer. Having her on our team ensures that our message is shared throughout our community. And you can see her again down below in the flag raising. So we asked them to join us at the Canada Day Parade. That's the top right with Elvis there. And we asked them to come to our farmers market booths. Anything and everything that we do that's public facing, we want to see those red shirts in attendance. The Cherries team members are incredible ambassadors to the Cherry Fox Foundation in their bright red t-shirts. Another thing we do with our Cherries team members is that we have a local restaurant who donates breakfast for us all. They've been doing this for many years. It's Bayside Restaurant, in case anybody's traveling near the Orillia area. Stop by and thank them and have a good meal. We gather on the Monday before our Cherry Fox Run Day to kick off Cherry Fox Week in the city of Orillia. We call it our Breakfast for Champions. We invite the media and we use it as a promotional event. However, it has turned into so much more. It's turned into a great supportive time for our Cherries team members. We all share similar histories. We can speak openly with each other and offer encouragement or support. This has also turned into a fundraising activity. Rick Ball, who's pictured in the back there beside the Cherry Fox poster, he's our local ambassador. He's single leg amputee marathon runner. And Rick takes our big donation jug around the room to the other diners and collects donations. Pardon?
Shakes them down.
Jim's telling me in my ear here, he shakes them down. He's nice about it though. Anyway, he takes the jug around to the other diners and collects donations. And people are always stopping by to tell us their Terry Fox stories. The gentleman on Rick's right there behind me shared incredible stories about his seeing Terry when he was young. And they stopped by to encourage us and wish us well. And one year, the entire restaurant broke out in applause. It was very, very incredible. We also invite a well-known and respected community member. Her name's Ginny Stringer. She's in a trial program that is partially funded by the Terry Fox Foundation. And she credits the program and the dollars raised through the Terry Fox Foundation with giving her the quality of life she has today, despite her terminal diagnosis. So we always have Ginny speak at our opening ceremonies. So many people know and love her, so she brings a great message. Last year, we also created these frames. Mackenzie created these frames for us that are similar to the Terry's Team lawn sign, which we used in our social media posting of videos and photos. And then if this works, I'm hoping to bring you to a video. Can you see it, Jim?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Jack Latimer, and I'm a Terry's Team member and a cancer survivor. We hope that you'll do a little fundraising and join us as well, if you can, with the Terry Fox Run 2020 and help us with cancer research.
All righty, so glad that worked. And just before we, in closing, I'm going to leave you this final video. We recorded it last summer to be used in our virtual opening ceremonies, which is posted on our YouTube page as well. We obviously couldn't gather with all 70 of our Terry's Team members, so we gathered with this group. We did follow the COVID guidelines at the time. You can see we're all standing 6 feet apart, and most of us are holding our masks in our hands for the video. And the videographer was masked and stayed 6 feet away. So thank you so much for giving me your time today and hanging around after the time is up, really. If you have any questions or feedback or ideas, please don't hesitate to get in touch with me about any Terry's Team related items.
Ali, thank you. Thank you so much for this. It is, it's such an important part of our entire organization. They are the hope, as you said, they're the proof that cancer research is working. And I'm so excited that the work you and Donna did last year, and wonderful Mackenzie, who's coming back. And I think based on the chat, people are very excited about introducing this to their community. So phenomenal. Thank you so much for this. And I know Donna is available. Ali's always available too. And we will also be getting the signs ready and being able to distribute them for you guys as well. So it's the start of something I think that's going to be really exciting as we develop an actual Terry's Team initiative for Canada. So thank you, Ali. We're always just so grateful for the amazing love and gifts you give us.
Truly my pleasure, Martha.
Oh, thank you guys. Okay, so listen, we're just about to wrap up, you guys. Thank you for your patience. We did invite our second last speaker. I'm going to be the last one, and I'm going to whip through the tech stuff because I think you guys are going to be super excited. But last year, our Burlington team did an extraordinary job in selling merchandise during a pandemic. which is extraordinary because we didn't actually even think we would be producing merchandise last year because we didn't have really any way that we thought we could sell it. So I'm delighted to welcome Craig and Nancy from the Burlington team here today, who do a lot of things really well and are one of the ones actually. There were, I think, about 30 runs in Toronto, in Ontario, that actually raised more than they did in a COVID year last year. And Team Burlington was one of those. So we're honored to have you guys join us today. And thank you for sharing your ideas about selling merchandise, because we'll be needing those again this year as we go into V2 COVID. Thank you, guys.
Great. I will be quick because I know we're running way over, so I'll make this snappy and then we can get on with our day. So the keyword for 2020 was pivot, which we all did. And so we decided that we were going to change the way that we marketed t-shirts. And we had great success. You can see, normally we would sell about $2,000 to $3,000 at a run every year. And in 2020, we actually grew by 52%. So we went up to $5,700. And our target for 2021 is 8,000. So we're looking at a longer selling period because we're hoping that Kim's going to hold true to what she said, and we're going to get our shirts earlier, maybe.
For sure.
I'm not going to go into the COVID stuff, but we did, we were very conscious of how comfortable people were. We either put them in the mailbox, we did e-transfers, shirts in plastic bags, etc. So why did our sales jump? So ordering locally, we promoted on social media. We let them know that we would deliver to their home, or they could pick it up at our house, in our mailbox, whatever. And I think the Amazon theory is that you can get it same day delivery or almost, depending on what the schedule was like for both delivery and for the person that was receiving it. I think one of the biggest things that I know there are a lot of people that order online, but I think for me, I'm not very comfortable ordering online when it comes to clothes because I don't know if it'll fit. And so I think with the t-shirts, because they never are the same manufacturer and they're cut differently, et cetera, it can be a negative experience as far as sizing. So one of the things we were able to do was bring multiple sizes. And this was true even for families because, they had a 6-year-old and a 10-year-old, and, we had different sizes and they weren't sure if it was going to be a lady's small that potentially might fit, or sorry, the small versus the youth sizes, for example. I think also the fact that we were able to give the shirts out early and has been a big benefit for us, because then they can wear the shirts throughout August and September. And so it was great to see them around town, walking around with them on prior to, so really helped. And from a virtual perspective, we had a lot of people that did events prior to September 20th last year, where they did their own family thing, or they had a barbecue or whatever, and they were able to wear their shirts for their own special day. So from a social media perspective, I did try to pre-promote prior to us receiving the shirts, but actually most of the energy and effort didn't happen until August 30th was basically the first day we were able to, or August 26th was the first day we were really able to promote it. And so you can see some of the things that we did. We also sold for school runs as well, even though there were really no school runs because the schools were in virtual mode, but we did find that there were schools that were doing it virtually as well. So one of the things that we've talked about today is about making the run personal. And this really helped us to engage in and really get to know people better because we were able to deliver the shirts. And so for every shirt that we sold, there was a story behind it. And we realized that pretty quickly and started to get to know these people a lot better and understand, why they were buying the shirt, why they were running as a family, And so they made great stories in social media as well. The little boy on the right, his mother was had cancer, and he wanted to wear a Terry Fox shirt to fight for his mom. So just a great story. And she also took one of the red signs, for instance. So she's obviously a young mom, and her son was was pretty passionate about getting his mom better. So our strategy for 2021 is, let's keep going, let's keep it personal. So we've now, so Craig and I sort of split Burlington up last year, and he did north of the highway and I did south of the highway. This year we're going to have a shirt sales committee. So we have somebody who's going to be in charge of it, and we'll have a team of people that are going to sell the shirts from July to December. We're looking at using social media again to do online promotion, and targeting different demographics. So, the grandmother that has 3 or 4 grandchildren is a great way to talk to individuals about why they would want to buy a Terry Fox shirt for their 6-year-old grandson or granddaughter. Or, the team captains and getting their team to all show up with their shirts on and have them their picture taken. So there's different ways that we can go to market, targeting those different individuals. The other suggestion was to model different sizes. So, having people, modeling the size 7 or size small, medium, and large, for instance. Find out their story. So as we're dropping off the shirt, if there is a story to be told, would they could do it with a form fill, or ask them to take a picture of themselves, or we take a picture of them when we drop the shirt off, or can we get an interview? And from a coverage plan perspective, break out Burlington a little bit better than we did last year of being able to do neighborhoods. So taking shirts and splitting them up, and then keeping track of the sale. We're also looking at selling at high traffic locations where possible, depending on what happens with COVID and what gets opened up. But there's some talk of doing some events in Burlington this summer, or if not, just even being in front of the beer store, for example, and being able to sell shirts there. Obviously, COVID restrictions incorporated. Promote youth sizes for school runs. A lot of the kids don't get an opportunity to get the shirts, or the parents don't think to get the shirts. And I find that the kids, because they've learned about it in grade 2, are super excited to have a Terry Fox shirt. And then the last one that we're looking at is putting together a holiday gift bundle for this year. And the first one we're thinking about is doing like a shirt, a donation, and then a letter from local survivors, or a letter from Fred Fox, or some way of really personalizing it for the individual. And then bundle 2, like we talked about with targeting the younger generation with a youth shirt, a Terry Fox book. We've got multiple books now that are age appropriate, and then a Try Like Terry letter. And that's it for me. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out to either Craig or I, or anybody on the Burlington team. We're happy to help.
Sorry, that took, thanks, Gabe. Thank you so much, Nancy. It's incredibly exciting when we're able to overcome what seems like the biggest of obstacles. It feels very Terry Fox. So I wanted to say thank you. Team Burlington is tremendous, always brings some great ideas. And those are already, I can say from the chat, people are super excited about that as well. So thank you guys for sharing. And yes, we will make sure the shirts are available earlier, 100%. And I think based on the shirt itself, we will be putting a note in as well, explaining the origin of the shirt and the connection to Terry and his history and the family's Métis heritage as well. So we think it'll be a really special purchase for people as well this year. So thank you, Team Burlington. Thanks, Craig. I can't see you, but I know you guys work as an amazing duo and team. So thank you for that. Okay, so I'm going to present the last one very, very quickly. You guys have been amazing. And we're really excited this year. I'm going to share my screen. There we go. We have got some, as you guys know, we're trying to move into a digital, what we call the digital transformation of Terry Fox. And it's going to be more and more important, of course, as we still battle all the social distancing and the concerns that we have for 2021. So a couple of exciting things that I want to share. First of all, we have a new website coming in July. Now, as you guys know, there's two different. We have a website, which is kind of where our events and our programs live, and Terry's story lives. And we also have then an online platform, fundraising platform. So that's a bit different, but this will be an exciting, I think you guys will love how we're going to be presenting Terry. It's going to be really engaging, inspirational, and color. It'll be a lot more color, we promise. So we'll let you guys know when that's up and running. We are also relaunching mobile giving. It's very funny how some of these things existed for those of you guys who've been around a while. We've always had this text to donate for Terry Fox, but we're relaunching it again. It's sort of come back into vogue. So right now, if you wanted to, you could donate $5. You guys donate a lot. So it's really, really simple, obviously. There's a one-time option, which is for $5, or you can make a monthly $5. We're going to, as you can see, expanding that during August, and people will be able to choose different dollar values that they can donate. Now, of course, the only issue for this in terms of you guys as run organizers, it goes into a general pool. It's not allocated to Terry Fox Run. So this is more, this is going to be used for the benefit broadcast and some of those other broader appeals that we're going to have. But it's great to have it back, and it will be available too across the board. We're introducing the QR code. So if you want to take your phone right now, open it up, and you just take a photo, you open up your camera, and the QR code should pop up a little website code that you can open up, and it should take you to our donation page. So it depends on which kind of camera, whether you're using an Android or an iPhone, it comes up a little bit differently. And there's, if it's not coming up, you might have to go into your settings and turn on your scan for QR codes. But the exciting part of this is that it's going to be applicable across the board. So we are going to be providing every run site with custom QR codes, stickers. So you can see, you can put them on your lawn signs, on your posters. We're also going to be having, for a pilot group, we're going to be having lanyards. The QR code will take the person who scans it right to your page on our online platform, and they will be able to either register or donate right to your run site. So it's absolutely custom. It was very important for us to make sure that we made sure it went right to you. It's not just a generic QR code. Going forward, registration, Run Day registration 2022, we think this is also going to have amazing applicability to be able to donate and not have to bring cash or check if people are making a Run Day donation. So that's going to evolve as well. So it's, the user experience is going to be really easy. As you can see here, there are the ways that the public can make use of some of these, the QR code. And as I said, we're going to have custom QR codes for your run sites. And then we are also going to attempt, and we might reach out to you guys as well. We still have quite a few people, even top fundraisers, who continue to use pledge sheets, which we understand. It's, of course, we're delighted that they just want to fundraise for us, but we would like to maybe see if they'd be interested in doing a pilot project with us. And we would provide them with their own QR code and they'd have a lanyard. They could also put it through on email and send it out to friends and family if they would like to do that. So we'll probably be reaching out. We're going to try to bring about 300 or 400 pledge sheet fundraisers to attempt to join our pilot for using custom QR codes that would go to their own custom page on the online platform. And we just think that it could give people more of a, an easier way to ask for donations as well, considering we're trying to remain socially distanced. So we also are really, really happy to tell you guys that the app is coming back. It's not the same app, it's a new app, and it's a fundraising app. So last year we had a fitness app called Move Spring, but before that, some of you might remember that we actually had a fundraising app. That was shut down, and we're now bringing it back with a new company who did an incredible app with some incredible work with the CIBC Run for the Cure last year. So it's going to be branded Terry Fox. It'll be easily found in the app, in the Google App Store and the Google Play. It's totally about fundraising. It will connect up to your page on in Artez, which I know Kim has been encouraging all of you to get registered and get fundraising, which we love. And also, I'm delighted to tell you, you'll be able to see your own progress. You'll be able to see your teams if you're on a team. And as you can see the big red arrow, you'll be able to see how much your run site has raised up to the minute. So that's really exciting, because I know in the past that's been a frustration. And we made sure that that was going to be easy for you guys, because we know that some of you probably checked your app about once a minute in previous years leading up to the run. So we're so happy that this is going to come back. It's going to have very, very cool function. It's going to have badges. It's going to give you tips on moving forward, asking for donations. Very, very, I like someone telling me what to do. That's totally untrue, but I like my app to tell me what to do. So this is going to be great in terms of getting me focused and suggesting things for me going forward. You can also send messages and using Twitter and LinkedIn as well. So I think it's going to be a great addition to our digital transformation this year. I wanted to show you that this was a little image from the Run for the Cure. They have avatars. So we haven't gotten to that point yet. We're still working on what it's going to look like, but it's very cute. As you raised more money, you could pick different outfits for your avatar to wear, and little signs that they could carry and stuff. So I'm just seeing people wearing it, putting on a Terry Fox shirt, putting on shorts, their shoes, whatever. I don't think they start off naked, but I will let you know if that's the case. I won't go through this, but you can just see quickly that the company that is actually working with us on this have proven they've worked with a lot of very big charities in the last couple of years, and they have really seen very positive pickup in terms of fundraising, how it impacts using the app, impacts their fundraising. Including, we love that 3 times the number of donations as their peers. So that's a fantastic one as well. So that is, I wanted to quickly, I know I ran through that, and we will have more information as we go along. But I wanted to let you know exciting things are coming. And Gabe, if you can unmute Michael for a second, because Michael was just going to make an extra comment on our digital efforts too, which I think he's very keen on.
Was it the digital efforts related to Movember? I already talked about that, but what I can say is digital is an incredibly important transition for us. As we finish up, I just want to say thank you to everybody for being incredible at what you do and motivating us to work harder at the foundation. Martha, what was it specifically you wanted me to name? You're on mute.
That might have been it, Michael. I remembered you said that, but then I thought there was something else. I think we talked a lot about stuff yesterday.
I just want us to be the #1 peer-to-peer fundraising organization in the country again. So
no biggie, you guys. So we're on our way though, Michael. I think you'd agree. I think this is exciting.
Absolutely.
I'm happy to see this stuff coming back. Okay.
Amazing group.
So you guys have been unbelievable. Thank you for spending this morning with us. We have our 3 last, Emma Coster, just because, I don't want anyone. Oh, there she is again. Hi. In your face. Okay, here we go. So the last 3 big gifts. We have a toolbox with a $50 Canadian Tire gift card. That's very exciting, Emma. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here. Oh, go back. Emma had picked someone on the first screen. Derek from Waterloo, my friend. What? Congratulations. Okay, the next one is, it's a 40th anniversary merchandise box, hoodie, shirt, dry fit shirt, masks, ball cap, and the book set. Okay, here we go. Emma Coster. Oh, Gary K. Gary K, your screen is off. Gary, you won. Put it in the chat if you know that you won. Okay, Gary, congratulations. And the last one, which is really cool. I don't know if you can see Kimber. Kimber, do you want to hold up this last? Very cool. Here we go. So this is a handmade Terry Fox rug hooked wall hanging made by Bunny Horn in BC. So it's got it's a true Terry Fox collector's item. Let's call it that. Okay, so Emma Coster, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, Anna in Thornhill.
Yay.
There we go. Oh my gosh. Okay, you did a great job. Thank you, baby girl. I love you. Okay. Listen, you guys are, that's it.
There's
That's
one
it.
more.
Oh. There's one.
Yep.
Oh, there is one more. Kimber, you introduced that one. I had it circled and then I missed it. Okay.
Okay, you guys. So we didn't sell merchandise on this call because we weren't at the workshop. So I have not registered to fundraise yet this year, but whatever site is drawn, my $4,100 or $5,000, whatever I raise, $4,100 for sure, is going to your site. So who is it?
Here we go. Okay, Emma, you're gonna go. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, look, they're all waving. Helen.
Sorry?
Helen Veerkamp. Helen, what run are you with? Hello, Helen. Oh, she can't unmute herself. Put it in the chat, Helen.
Now you can
Congratulations.
unmute everybody.
Unmute everybody. Okay, wait a minute, before you do that. You guys, thank you. You are an unbelievable group. Your patience with us. We miss you. We will hug you next year. Thank you for coming. The meeting is now adjourned. And if you want to chat, we're here. Thank you, Terry Foxers.
Thank
Love
you. Love you guys.
And now you can unmute, Gabe.
Yes.
Thank you, Eddie.
Bye, everybody.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Everyone.
Great meeting.
Make sure you
Thanks, Martha. Thanks, Kim.
Thanks,
Martha. Thanks, Kim.
Thank you, guys.
You are wonderful. At least you're not going out to shovel
And the
snow.
banners are out in the garage, are they? Or are they done?
Hey, yesterday somebody got snow.
Yes, we got snow.
Newmarket did.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
I can't really see.
And listen, for you guys, my parents normally are on this call, but Brita's had a bit of a vertigo attack. So she wants to send her love and to tell you all that she, well, I can't go into it because it would have taken her 10 minutes to tell you how much she loved you all. But yeah.
Love Brita.
Yep. Tell her we're thinking of her.
Oh, you guys.
Go up to Brita.
Sending love, Brita. Feel better.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Are we still recording? Just asking.
Are we still recording? Oh, no. I guess, yeah, Gabe.
It looks like it. Okay, it's time for the